Hello and welcome back to SF a Giants recap. And in today's live stream, we're going to be going over the Giants versus the Angels and what the Giants' first week in a couple days have looked like for spring training. So we're going to hop into that soon. Make sure to subscribe and like if you do end up enjoying. And the Giants today, they looked really good today. 9 runs put up. We saw a lot of great things from the offense. So let's jump over. I'll bring up the screen right now to show you the stats and the box score and the full recap of the game. So let me pull up that right now. Okay, so as you can see here, LaMonte Wade Jr., 2 walks. He's continued to see the ball really well. He hit the ball hard the other game, getting a home run. He's got an RBI today, scored a run. He looks good, and I think that him being our leadoff hitter, seeing the ball well, getting on base, obviously his average is 182. Not great, but his OPS is 926, which is phenomenal. So LaMonte Wade Jr., I think he'll be starting the season off where he left off last year before he got hurt, which was an on-base machine. He was doing phenomenal with that, and his on-base percentage was super up and I think it was second in the majors right behind Juan Soto and maybe even past Juan Soto at one point, but I know it was right there. The other things that we saw in today's game, Jung-Hoo Lee looked really well, really good. 2 hits, 2 runs scored. He's hitting the ball super well this spring, and he's showing the power, obviously, and that's what I love about Jung-Hoo Lee is the power. Let's just go over the one obvious guy who is going to be making the active roster and probably be on this opening day lineup, and that is Jerar Encarnacion. He had 2 hits today with 5 RBIs, a nice double to score 3 runs, cleared the bases on that, and has just looked phenomenal. He's one of those guys where he goes up to the plate and you have that sense of he's going to hit the ball and he's going to hit the ball hard and it's going to look really good because he just has that approach of I'm in charge of the set bat and I'm going to attack the pitch, and that's what he's done this whole spring. It's looked really, really good, and I'm really excited for him to be on the team. I just hope that he doesn't either opposing pitchers don't find out about how to approach him and they continue to struggle, but there could be something like Casey Schmidt, where Casey Schmidt came in and he was doing phenomenal, and then they realized that, or opposing pitchers realized they don't really have to attack the zone. He's going to go out there and he's going to swing out of his shoes and at pitches way outside, and that's how you can get him out. With Encarnacion, hopefully opposing pitchers don't figure him out. Hopefully he can, and if they do, he can adjust. And I think that he can be a really dangerous hitter for us and put the bat on the ball all the time and get us those big hits. Because last year, as most of you guys know, the Giants' biggest weakness was the big hits. We never were able to get that big hit to put the Giants up in front or to get them back in the running for the game, because we'd be down 4-1, let's say, and bases loaded, ground double play. We're losing 3-2 in the 9th or the 8th, and there's a guy on second. The ground ball, pop up, anything. It didn't matter. The Giants struggled with that astronomically last year and the year prior and the year prior to that. It was just the constant struggle of the Giants just lacking that ability to get the big hit when they needed. So if Encarnacion can step into that and become that guy, that will help out the Giants a ton. Luis Matos, he had a home run today. Good to see Matos get the bat on the ball, get the power going, and I think he's looking really good for the spring, and hope that he can continue that. Matt Chapman, like you can see here, he had a nice single to score a run. We saw LaMonte Wade Jr. I mentioned him. And then the Giants base running just put pressure on. We got a lot of guys on base today, and the Giants just overall as a team looked there. They looked like they were ready to play. The starters looked good. The non-roster invitees and the minor leaguers prospects haven't looked great in the past few games. They've kind of lacked on the approach, the offense, and the pitching as well, except for Carson Seymour the other day. He did really well. But other than that, though, the non-roster invitees and the minor league prospects not looking too hot. For the Giants pitching today, Robbie Ray, he looked like a Cy Young today. 1 hit allowed, 6 strikeouts, no walks. That's basically all you need to know. He was locating his pitches. He looked in control. He has 0 ERA for spring. I think that Robbie Ray, if he can come out, stay healthy, I think that the Giants really need to prioritize health with this rotation, because this rotation, it's a little fragile, because if we go Logan Webb, he's going to be your workhorse. He's going to do really well. Knock on wood, he hasn't had injuries in the past, and so there's nothing really lingering. But let's look at Justin Verlander. Any sort of thing, it's going to take him out. Jordan Hicks, he has been a starter for 1 year, and now this year is his second year as a starter, and hopefully he's going to go more than what he did last year, which was like 5 innings. But he also had some injuries, and that if he gets one little thing, he's out for a long time. Robbie Ray, he had Tommy John a few years ago. If he gets one little tweak, he's gone. So I think that this rotation that the Giants have built is a really good rotation, has a lot of potential, obviously, and can look good. But I think the main part that the Giants need to really hone in on is separation of innings and not giving anyone too much of a workload. I think if you rotate Hayden Birdsong and Kyle Harrison in there, switch them out with Justin Verlander, Jordan Hicks, shorten them. Same with Robbie Ray. If you have guys on like a 6-man rotation, or you have a guy where every 3 starts you miss a start and they're replaced with like Birdsong or Harrison, someone like that, Tristan Beck can come up. Sean Jelly, he can pitch a few innings. Not have an opener. Openers never work. Have done terrible for us. But I think if you can have a guy like Tristan Beck come in, give us 4 innings to start a game, be our starter, and let Robbie Ray have 1 day off. If we lose that game, that's fine, especially early in the season. But if we now have Robbie Ray, if that game right there with Robbie Ray sitting out can now get him to go the whole season without an injury, that just won us probably 3 more games. And I think that strategy for the Giants will work really well with offsetting the workload, keeping guys healthy, getting guys back from being injured. And I think that would really help out the Giants staff as a whole, and get the rookies or younger guys more innings. Kyle Harrison, Hayden Birdsong looked really good last year, but there were some times where they fell off and had a complete meltdown because they would either have too little of innings to where they weren't ready, or they'd be given the workload and they'd fall apart. I think that's been the Giants' biggest struggle in the past 3 years, is not balancing the workload. They've given guys 1 inning in 2 weeks, or they've given guys 20 innings in 2 weeks. And that sort of situation for pitching is not good for their arm, not good for their mentality, not good for confidence. So the Giants really need to level that out. And I think that with Robbie Ray pitching this well, you really have to focus on his health and the amount of innings, pitches, everything that he contains. So enough with that, though. Tyler Rogers, he looked all right today, allowed 3 hits. The contact was there, but he did get a few weak contact. But it wasn't the Tyler Rogers that we're going to need in crucial situations in like the 7th or the 8th. So Tyler Rogers, I think that for him, spring training is making sure his pitches are getting soft contact. If his pitches aren't getting soft contact, then you have something to worry about, and something that needs to get fixed. So if we can kind of fix that with Tyler Rogers, you're going to see a better approach, I think. Camilo Doval, same thing. Camilo Doval, he looked fine, but his command wasn't really there. Yeah, he's way, way too lackadaisical on the mound. It has got to stop. There has to be some sort of mental focus for Camilo Doval. It's the thing with Camilo Doval is he gets going, and then his brain just gets in, oh, I'm cool and whatever. He needs to focus. I think that the Giants really need to put a strain on his mental focus, and that would lead to him having better command, not getting flustered over base runners. If he got base runners last year, he was totally lost. And if that happens again this year, what are we going to do? We're going to have to either trade him away, have him fill in a different role. It's just not going to work if he can't get his mental focus down. So I think that could be our main focus for Camilo Doval. Sean Jelly. Sean Jelly's been doing really well in spring. He was dominating, getting striking out the side in a few of his outings, But then today, it just kind of fell apart. 4 hits, 2 runs allowed. He didn't walk anyone, so he's hitting the zone. But other than that, though, he just did not look like himself. And I think that Sean Jelly can be that guy, that your 6th inning guy or 5th inning guy if a starter gets cut short. I think that he's that guy that can fill in that role. And today, he just didn't look like it. However, in the past couple appearances this spring, he's looked phenomenal. So maybe today was just one of where he was trying out a new pitch. His pitches weren't working as well, stuff like that, to where hopefully he can get it fixed. And so, what's up, Gage Rass and Warkanta in the chat? Thank you guys for watching. And we're going to keep going over the pitching, and then we'll call it good for today's live stream. So I hope to do a live stream every Sunday after the game to go over kind of like the week, how everything's gone. And there's not much to talk about as far as like moves and everything and roster situations because it's been the first week of spring training. However, though, there is a lot to go over with guys showing up like Christian Koss. He's been looking phenomenal in camp, and I think he has a chance to either be a guy that we see later in the season, maybe if we have to start the season. If like Fitzgerald gets hurt or something like that, I think that Christian Koss could be that guy because he's hitting well. So little things like that we'll talk about on Sundays for the stream. But today we're just mainly going to go over this Giants versus Angels game and go over all of like the stats and everything. So Keaton Winn, he came in today. He had a nice inning, nothing special, but nothing bad. 1 walk, 1 strikeout, no hits. So Keaton Winn, I think that Sean Jelly, Keaton Winn, Tristan Beck. Those 3 are those guys that the Giants don't really know what to do with them because all 3 can be starters, all 3 can be bullpen pitchers, but none of the 3 are super dominant or super bad. So you can't really mark one out or the other. And so seeing that situation, I think that as of right now, Keaton Winn probably will make the roster. Tristan Beck isn't looking too hot. I think he'll start in the minors if he can. I don't know about his options. And then Sean Jelly's the same. I think he'll make the active roster, but they're going to be very hesitant to use him since he isn't as dominant. So those 3 are going to be our biggest question marks for how the Giants will play and how everything kind of will pan out for the season and upcoming. Lou Trevino, he pitched well today. He bounced back. He had a poor outing the other day. So seeing him bounce back, I think is a good sign. But overall, though, the Giants, 9 runs put up, only 5 allowed. The pitching was not as well as good as we've seen in the past few games, but we did see a lot of offense. And Encarnacion, like I said, he's going to be our guy, and I'm really hoping he can continue this into the regular season. So that will do it for today's recap. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.